What happens when a championship-hungry franchise realizes the missing piece to their title puzzle might be hiding in plain sight, wearing Miami Heat colors and waiting for someone bold enough to make the call? Good evening, basketball fanatics, and welcome back to the channel, where we dissect the calculated gambles, the high-stakes negotiations, and the franchise-altering decisions that separate championship dynasties from teams that merely dream. Tonight, we're exploring a trade scenario that's gaining serious momentum in NBA circles, one that could fundamentally reshape the Western Conference playoff picture and provide Luka Dončić with the perfect running mate for a championship assault. The Los Angeles Lakers are reportedly circling Andrew Wiggins with the intensity of a predator that's caught the scent of opportunity, and if Miami blinks even for a second, LA might just pounce with the ferocity we've come to expect from an organization that's never been shy about making seismic roster moves. Let's establish the context that makes this pursuit so compelling. Last season, the Lakers executed one of the most audacious trades in recent NBA history, landing Luka Dončić by parting ways with Anthony Davis after 5.5 seasons of partnership. That wasn't just a transaction, it was a philosophical statement, a declaration that this franchise will sacrifice anyone, trade anyone, and do whatever it takes to chase banner number 18. Now, with Luka orchestrating the offense in purple and gold like a maestro conducting a symphony, the Lakers are methodically scanning the horizon for the perfect complementary piece. And according to Jake Fisher of the Stein Line, that piece might just be Andrew Wiggins, currently thriving in South Beach, but potentially available if Miami's front office decides to pivot. We've heard for some time now that the Lakers know they need some improvements on the wing, Fisher reported last Thursday, sending shockwaves through NBA circles. Andrew Wiggins has been a name that they are monitoring if Miami were to make him available. Let that marinate for a moment. Wiggins, the former Golden State Warriors champion, the athletic marvel who helped Stephen Curry secure his 4th ring, the player who transformed from draft bust narrative to redemption story, could be heading to Hollywood. The delicious irony? LA wanted him last year too, but Miami swooped in, sending Jimmy Butler to the Bay Area in exchange for the Kansas product. Now, barely a year later, the Heat might be having second thoughts, and the Lakers are positioned to capitalize on that uncertainty. Here's where this gets fascinating from a pure basketball IQ perspective. Luka Dončić doesn't just need warm bodies around him. He needs specific types of players who complement his unique skill set and maximize his generational talent. The Slovenian maestro operates best when surrounded by athletic bigs who can finish above the rim and perimeter shooters who can punish defenses for collapsing on his drives. It's basketball geometry at its finest. Luka attracts 2, sometimes 3 defenders, and suddenly the floor opens up like the Red Sea. Enter Andrew Wiggins, stage left. Since the start of the 2020-21 season, Wiggins has shot below 36% from three-point range exactly once. That's not just respectable, that's elite consistency for a wing player who can also attack closeouts, defend multiple positions, and bring championship pedigree to a locker room. The 2014 number 1 overall pick has shed the bust label like an old skin, emerging as exactly the type of versatile two-way wing that championship teams covet in today's positionless basketball landscape. This season with Miami, Wiggins is putting up 16.7 points for 0.9 rebounds and 2.8 assists per game while shooting a scorching 48.1% from the field and 36.5% from beyond the arc. But those aren't empty calories. Watch the tape, and you'll see a player who's learned to pick his spots, conserve energy on defense for crucial possessions, and most importantly, stay healthy and available. In an era where load management dominates headlines, Wiggins' durability is an underrated asset. The fit with Luka is almost too perfect. Imagine the defensive versatility. Wiggins taking on the opponent's best perimeter scorer while Luka conserves energy for offensive possessions. Picture the spacing. Luka probing the defense, drawing help, and kicking to a wide-open Wiggins in the corner for a catch-and-shoot 3. Visualize the transition opportunities. Wiggins running the floor like a gazelle, while Luka pushes the pace after a defensive rebound. This isn't just about adding talent. It's about adding the right talent. Wiggins doesn't need the ball in his hands to be effective. He doesn't require plays drawn up for him or demand touches to stay engaged. He's the ultimate complementary star, the type of player who makes everyone around him better simply by executing his role at an elite level. But let's flip the script for a moment and examine this from Miami's perspective, because understanding their motivations is critical to evaluating whether this deal has any realistic chance of happening. Why would Pat Riley, the godfather of Heat culture and one of the shrewdest executives in NBA history, even consider moving Wiggins after just one season? The answer might be more complicated than it appears on the surface. The Jimmy Butler trade was supposed to inject youth and athleticism into a Heat roster that had grown stagnant. Butler, now 35 years old, was moved to Golden State in exchange for Wiggins and additional assets. A clear signal that Miami was pivoting toward a different competitive timeline. But here's the uncomfortable reality. The Heat aren't exactly lighting the Eastern Conference on fire right now. If the returns aren't meeting expectations, Riley has never been one to wait around hoping things magically improve through patience and internal development. There's also the financial component to consider. Wiggins is in the midst of a contract that pays him approximately $19 million through the end of next season. That's not franchise-crippling money, but it's significant enough that Miami might prefer to redirect those resources if a better opportunity emerges. And if the Lakers come calling with the right package, perhaps young talent, draft capital, or expiring contracts that create future flexibility, Riley might just listen. The Heat have always been a destination franchise, capable of attracting star free agents through culture, location, and organizational reputation. If Riley believes he can flip Wiggins for assets that better position Miami for the next star who becomes available, he won't hesitate to pull the trigger. Sentimentality has never been part of the Heat's organizational DNA. This is where things get deliciously complicated, where the rubber meets the road and front office executives earn their salaries. The Lakers don't have a treasure trove of assets to offer, but they have enough to make things interesting if they're willing to be aggressive. Any deal for Wiggins would likely need to include salary matching, which means players like Rui Hachimura, Jared Vanderbilt, or even Gabe Vincent could be in play. Draft picks would almost certainly need to sweeten the pot. Miami isn't doing LA any favors here, and Riley will extract maximum value or simply walk away from negotiations. The question becomes, how much is too much? Wiggins is a proven commodity, a championship-tested wing who can defend, shoot, and fit seamlessly next to a ball-dominant superstar. But he's also 30 years old, carrying significant salary, and coming off a season where he was already traded once. The Lakers need to walk the tightrope between aggressive pursuit and reckless desperation. The kind of desperation that leads to overpaying and mortgaging the future for a marginal upgrade. A realistic package might look something like: Lakers send Rui Hachimura, Jared Vanderbilt, 2027 first-round pick, top 5 protected. Heat send Andrew Wiggins, 2026 second-round pick that gives Miami a younger forward in Hachimura with upside, a defensive specialist in Vanderbilt who fits their culture and future draft capital. For LA, they get the proven wing they desperately need without completely gutting their depth or future flexibility. Would Miami accept that? Would LA offer it? Those are the million-dollar questions that will determine whether this remains speculation or becomes reality. Here's the uncomfortable truth that Lakers fans need to confront head-on. Championship windows don't stay open forever, and the Western Conference is an absolute gauntlet right now. Luka is 26 years old, entering his absolute prime, but the competition is ferocious. The Denver Nuggets have Nikola Jokic, arguably the best player on the planet. The Phoenix Suns have Kevin Durant, still performing at an elite level despite his age. The Golden State Warriors, even after trading Wiggins, remain dangerous with Curry and now Butler forming a formidable duo. The Oklahoma City Thunder are young, talented, and hungry. The list goes on. The Lakers can't afford to waste a single season of peak Luka Dončić, hoping that internal development will be enough. This is why the Wiggins pursuit makes so much sense from a strategic standpoint. LA isn't looking for a project or a lottery ticket. They're looking for a proven winner who can contribute immediately in high-leverage playoff situations. Wiggins checks every single box: championship experience, defensive versatility, offensive efficiency, positional need, and the ability to thrive without dominating the ball. If Miami makes him available, the Lakers would be foolish not to make a serious push, even if it means parting with assets they'd prefer to keep. History teaches us that teams which win championships are almost always the ones willing to make bold moves at the right time. The 2008 Celtics traded for Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen. The 2019 Raptors traded for Kawhi Leonard. The 2020 Lakers traded for Anthony Davis. Championship teams are built through aggressive, calculated risk-taking, not passive hope that the roster will magically improve through patience. Standing pat is essentially betting that no other Western Conference team will improve, that injuries won't strike at an opportune moment, and that the playoffs will somehow be easier than the regular season. That's not a bet any serious championship contender should be willing to make. What happens if the Lakers don't make a move? What if they decide their current roster is good enough that internal improvement will carry them through the gauntlet of the Western Conference playoffs? The risk is substantial. Basketball is a game of margins, especially in the playoffs when rotations tighten and every possession becomes a chess match between elite coaching minds. The difference between championship and disappointment often comes down to having that one additional player who can make winning plays in crucial moments. Without Wiggins or a similar upgrade, the Lakers are essentially hoping that their current roster overperforms, that Luka stays healthy, and that they catch some fortunate breaks along the way. That's not a championship strategy. That's crossing your fingers and hoping for the best. Moreover, if the Lakers pass on Wiggins and he ends up with another Western Conference contender, they've not only failed to improve their own roster, but actively strengthened a potential playoff opponent. That's a double loss that could haunt them in a 7-game series down the line. The front office needs to ask themselves a simple question. 5 years from now, when we look back at the Luka era, will we regret being too cautious or too aggressive? History suggests that teams almost always regret inaction more than action, especially when their championship window is wide open. As we sit here in late November 2025, the NBA landscape feels like it's teetering on the edge of something significant. The Lakers are monitoring Andrew Wiggins with serious intent, and if Miami decides to make him available, we could be witnessing the next chapter in LA's championship pursuit unfold in real time. This isn't about desperation, it's about optimization. It's about recognizing that Luka Dončić is too special, too generational, to surround with anything less than the perfect supporting cast. Wiggins isn't a savior who will single-handedly deliver a championship to Los Angeles, but he might just be the final piece of a puzzle that's been slowly coming together since Luka arrived. And in a league where margins are razor-thin and championship windows close faster than you can blink, that might be exactly what the Lakers need to separate themselves from the pack and position themselves as legitimate title favorites. Now, it's your turn to play general manager. Is Andrew Wiggins the missing piece for the Lakers championship puzzle, or should LA look elsewhere for their wing upgrade? What would you be willing to give up if you're sitting in Rob Pelinka's chair? And Heat fans, what would it take for you to feel good about moving Wiggins after just one season? Drop your complete trade proposals, your strategic analysis, and your brutally honest assessments in the comments below. This is the kind of high-stakes roster construction that separates championship organizations from pretenders, and we want to hear every perspective, every angle, every creative solution you can devise. If this deep dive into the Lakers' pursuit of Andrew Wiggins has expanded your understanding of championship-level decision-making and the calculated risks teams take in pursuit of banners, smash that like button and subscribe for more elite-level basketball analysis that goes beyond surface-level takes. Your engagement fuels this community, and together we're building the smartest basketball conversation on the platform. The NBA never sleeps, and neither do we. Until next time, keep your eyes on the trade market, because the next franchise-altering move might be just one phone call away.